Hey guys, what's up? My name's Isaiah and welcome to the channel. So this is a place where I just share random things that I learned that I feel like can be helpful for others. Whether it's personal finance, which is what this video is about, productivity stuff, or just random life hacks. So if this sounds interesting to you, then hit the subscribe button down below so you'll be notified whenever I upload another video. And also hit the like button so this video can reach more and more people and more people can learn about how to properly manage their finances. So there's been so much talk about personal finance recently, whether that's GameStop, Wall Street bets, Bitcoin, Dogecoin. In the past, Wall Street would try to tell us normal people that, oh, finances are too hard, don't worry, just give us your money so that we can invest it in stuff. But with the advent of the internet, anyone who wants to learn more about how to manage their own finances can. So I've always been someone who doesn't really like to depend on people if I don't have to. So I kind of look up everything. And over time, I realized that financial literacy and learning more about personal finance is actually really important. And today I want to share with you how your money is possibly losing value each and every day just sitting around. And this is due to something called inflation. So inflation is a decrease in purchasing power over time of a given currency. So according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, inflation floats usually around 2% a year. So that basically just means that if something costs $1 today, in 2022, it's gonna cost $1.02. Now, inflation won't always be too apparent, right? Because let's say a cup of coffee won't jump from $1 to $1.02 because other things might change. There's so many other factors, where it's supply chain, where they get their resources, how the crops are looking that year. But just know that inflation does occur at a roughly 2% rate every year. And a good example is this picture right here. So this picture shows the price of a cup of coffee over the last roughly 50 years. So you can see that in 1970, a cup of coffee was about $0.25. And in 2019, that same cup of coffee is $1.59. So it's not so much that coffee is getting more expensive, it's more so the value of the dollar is decreasing over time. So you might be thinking, Isaiah, I put my money in the bank, don't I get interest? And technically that's true, but according to the FDIC, which is the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the average APY for a checking account is 0.04% a year. So just to clarify, APY stands for annual percentage yield, which is basically how much interest you'd accrue over a year. So what this basically means is that if you leave $100 in the bank today, a year from now, you'd have $100.04 in the bank. Not that much. But again, the thing you have to take into account is inflation. So due to 2% inflation and only a 0.04% APY, you would have $104 in your bank. That's what the bank statement would say. But the value compared to the year before, you'd only have $98.04. So another thing you could be thinking is, okay, well, my parents always told me to put my money in a savings account. If I want to save money, let it grow, I put it in a savings account. And in the past, that might be true. But again, the FDIC shows that the national APY for a typical savings account is 0.05%. 0.05%. That's only 0.01% more than a checking account. That's so freaking deceptive. It's like you think, oh, okay, my checking account's for where I spend my savings account, I'm gonna get a lot of interest. No. If you put $100 in, you get 1 cent more a year, 1 penny more a year. Even just talking about it annoys me. So now that I told you the problem, what's the solution? So you have a few options. So first of all is a high interest savings account. Just like it sounds, it's a savings account with a higher interest or a higher yield. So I found two that were really reputable and had good credibility behind them. The first is Capital One's savings account. So for the Capital One savings account, there's no monthly fees, no minimum deposits, anything like that. And it gives an APY of 0.4, which is 8 times more than your typical savings account. Pretty good money. And the cool thing about the Capital One ecosystem is that you can also open a checking account with them. And the checking account actually has a 0.1% APY, which is 2.5 times more than your typical bank. So this is convenient because you can move your money between your checking and your savings account very seamlessly. And you get a debit card because you have a checking account and you can use it for transactions, anything like that. So another high interest savings account is the American Express High Yield Savings Account. So this savings account has an APY of 0.5%, which is 10 times more than the national average. So again, there's no monthly fees, no minimum deposits, anything like that. The main downside is there's no checking account you could open with American Express. So what you could do is you could have a main bank, which is any other, bank, and you could just wire money to the savings account, let it grow, and whenever you need it, just wire it back. It's a little more work, but if you want that 0.1 increase in APY, it might be worth it for you. But being honest, I don't use either of these. So what I personally use is something called Yotta Savings. So I feel like I have to say this, but I'm obviously not sponsored by these guys or anything like that. I'm just a very, very, very small YouTuber, so they don't even know I exist. But I really like their product, and that's why I wanted to share with you all today as an option of what you could do to minimize the effects of inflation. So Yotta is just an app where you can download on either the App Store, the Google Play Store, or anything like that. So Yotta gives a base APY of 0.2%, which is 4 times higher than your average savings account. It's not as good as the American Express or the Capital One savings account, but that's only at the base. So this is how it works. For every $25 you put into this savings account, you get one sort of lottery ticket. And a number is drawn each day, and at the end of the week, depending on how many matches you get, you'll get a certain amount of money, whether it's a few cents, a few dollars, or their craziest prizes are like a Tesla and I think like $1 million. If I were to get that, cool, great, but I don't expect that. I just want pretty solid APY, honestly. So here's a picture of my APY in January, this past month. And as you can see, it's 5.5%, which is crazy. Honestly, this is an anomaly. Like I opened my app and I saw this, I was really surprised. I would say on average, I get about 2% APY, give or take, per month. So I just personally want a 2% APY because I don't really care necessarily about making money. It's more so I don't want to lose money. So yeah, to get Yotta is super simple. You just go in the App Store, go in the Play Store, like I said earlier, download it, connect your bank account to it, and you're good to go. One thing, if you really want, you can use the referral code Isaiah3. And for I think the first week, I never used it before, but for the first week, I think we both get 100 extra tickets, which is cool. Maybe on the off chance we might win that Tesla. So the first thing I'm always concerned about with things I don't know is this a scam? And especially if I'm gonna put my money in it, am I gonna get robbed? American Express and Capital One, for example, they're both really reputable companies. They're not gonna steal anything from you, of course. And if they did, it would cause like national headlines. So when I first looked into Yotta, what I looked for were their co-founders, their investors, and also if they were FDIC insured. So the 2 co-founders of Yotta are Adam Moelis and Ben Doyle. They both have a previous history at working at Goldman Sachs and Bridgewater, which are obviously 2 huge companies. And looking at the investors behind them are also really big name people in the financial world. And lastly, like I said, I wanted to make sure that this company was FDIC insured. And to me, honestly, that was probably the most important thing. So Yotta is FDIC insured up to $250,000. So what that means is whether the company goes under, they get hacked, the investors or whatever steal your money, they're actually crooks. The FDIC ensures that as long as your money's 250 grand or less, you'll get fully insured your money. And if you have more than 250 grand with Yotta, you'll get insured up to $250,000. So I think that's important for 2 reasons. First of all, I know if anything happens, I'll be able to keep my money. And secondly, the fact that they're FDIC insured gives them a lot more credibility. So with that, I hope you learned something today. Finance can be really crazy and they use a lot of weird jargon, but I hope I was able to break it down into digestible chunks. So again, this channel is just me sharing about random things I've learned. If you want to see my last video, it was about how to set New Year's resolutions or even just goal setting in general. There's actually a really good structure you can have to maximize the chances of you achieving your goals. So if you want to click that video, you can click right here on the screen. So again, if you liked what I said today, hit the like button so that more and more people can be informed of how to kind of manage their personal finances. And if you want to stay updated on whenever I post, hit the subscribe button so you'll be notified. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.